Now, by the end of the year, the continent may have a new African credit rating agency. A few months ago, the African Union announced plans to launch its own credit rating agency due to concerns around fairness of the ratings provided by Moody's, S&P Global and Fitch. The proposed launch date is set for the 31st of December with annual operation capital of over $800,000. Misheck Mutize, who's a lead expert country support on rating agencies for the African Union, joins us with more detail. Misheck, a pleasure. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about this deadline set for the 31st of December. Misheck, where are we in terms of our own African Union credit rating agency?
Well, there's a lot of groundwork that has been going on up to this point, and as you may be aware that we've got a positive note from the ministers of finance at this point in time. So we have been preoccupied with the process of engaging a transaction advisor because this process is going to be a little bit more complex than we thought. And amongst these, we're also in the process of engaging prospective investors who will be shareholders in that institution. So we've got quite a wide spectrum of interested stakeholders who are willing to invest in that entity. So in brief, that's where we are at this point in time.
Let's talk about the spectrum of stakeholders, Misheck, especially as it pertains to a credit agency that is free from bias, that is free from undue influence, and also that is credible.
Absolutely. There is no question about it that those are the foundations of what will make this institution successful. So we are very clear on that the institution needs to be independent from any semblance of political influence or any stakeholders that will be controversial. So that's part of the reason why we are engaging professional transaction advisors to guide through the process, because there are also institutions that are very much interested, but we may be of the view that it might compromise the values that you have just mentioned of credibility and independence.
This does sound like one of those complexities that we have to certainly overcome to ensure that we're able to meet our objective here. Let's just talk about other complexities that we've seen along the way here, Misheck, considering also that we have more than, I think, 22 African countries that have actually been left out of credit ratings completely. How do we ensure that we have an agency that is also self-sustaining, in the future?
Well, we've got several areas that we think could add value and make that process a little bit easier. Number one is that the countries that don't have a rating now, and a bigger fraction of corporates and sovereigns, it's not because of their unwillingness to have a rating, but it's because of the cost that is highly prohibitive. And secondly, the fact that we've got several multilateral financial institutions that have got a Pan-African objective that we think will be of value in being utilized as one of the levers, and encourage them to also encourage their the entities that they advance credit to utilize the services of this institution, which we think will be one of the most important process that could make the business of the agency viable.
Another interesting one I'm keen to get your thoughts on, Misheck, is the issue of the cheaper debt for Africa, because I think that's really an important aspect here. When we look at development funding, we do find that as African countries are, finding themselves in very difficult positions because of some of the credit ratings and the perception of risk around the continent here. Once this organization is up and going, can we then be guaranteed that those who do grant credit to African countries will give the rating agency the weight that it deserves, and that it will be able to influence the cost of the debt that is then incurred?
Yeah, in response to that, let me clearly state that it's important to note that since the establishment of this institution is legitimately the need to widen the scope of opinions, there is no need to create an impression that this institution will favor African governments by giving it higher ratings without a basis, because that will completely defeat the whole purpose of bringing a more competition to the industry. And it will be not adding any value, because the investors that utilize this information might end up disregarding it. And secondly, that it is our view, and we believe that it's an important value it will bring to the industry. The fact that we have a lot of leverage in gathering more information that will be useful to make its analysis more comprehensive. So that's our view, and we believe that with also a lot of investment in the quality of analysts that will be undertaking this process, it will make it will be able to make its mark on the credit rating industry.
Brilliant. Well, looking forward to hearing more about it, Misheck, as it all develops. That was Misheck Mutize. He's a lead expert country support on ratings agencies for the African Union.